Folks, hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but the bad guys do. Welcome to an afternoon episode of our podcast brought to you by the Cheap Heat Champions, presented by So What's the Catch on YouTube. And we are here to talk today about World's End. Let's round it off with the card, boys. We're starting off with 0 Hour. We got a 20-person battle royale. Who are we about to see jump into this thing? I got money on Dolph Ziggler. Rollins, what do you got on it?
I got Mustafa Ali coming out.
Yeah. What's
What
the
you got?
point? What is this, a TNT for the
Yeah,
TNT?
winner
Yeah.
gets a TNT championship shot at any time, anywhere, I think.
So what? We drop the belt off of Christian Cage this evening, and then someone's gunning for Edge. Is that his next feud?
I guess. I don't
Boss,
know.
boss, what do you got on this one, bruv?
I think one of the Hardy Boys is going to be in it. I think either Matt or Jeff, or maybe both.
Both, probably both.
Most likely both. But if I do want to throw out a surprise, I'm going with Nick Nemeth. I saw them the other day, actually, both Nick and Ryan at the Monsters game, and that was pretty freaking cool. Bill, who you got?
I don't think there's any surprises. It's 0 hour. I want a surprise, but I don't see one happening.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, have to concur. 0 hour, no surprises. Would be interesting to see who does win the thing, because that's going to set up Christian and Copeland's next thing. I have a funny feeling we may well see a returning Luchasaurus. Sorry,
That would
Kill
be
Switch.
awesome.
Sorry, we don't call him Kill Switch here. Returning Luchasaurus wins the Battle Royal. And you're like, okay, which, who knows, could beautifully lead into something we'll discuss later on. But no surprises, it's 0 hour.
Oh,
Possibly with Kill Switch coming in.
so we're not going to see Mercedes Monet debut during the 20 minutes. For sure.
You do
Sure.
sorry.
Go ahead.
You do make a good point, though, Bill. Is like, why would they waste the debut of like Mustafa Ali or Dolph
Yeah.
Ziggler on 0 hour? You would want to save that for the main card, like they've done for Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole,
Ruby Soho.
Ruby Soho. Thank you, and some of the others we've had. So
If
your
we are
point,
going to get a debut on 0 hour, it'd be someone like Top Dollar.
Mansoor,
Top
Mansoor
dollar.
wants to come to AEW. He's not as big. I could see
Yeah.
it being 0 hour.
Devil's advocate briefly, though. 0 hour isn't always just, warm up and junk. We have had some big things on 0 hour before now. Was it
Better than you, Bebe, winning the ROH tag titles.
Yeah, Daniels and Suzuki, I think it was like 25-minute chop fest, which was glorious. So, I don't think we could completely rule out a surprise on 0 hour, but I think it's unlikely.
Yeah, I would agree. Well,
Yes.
Speaking of big names on 0 hour, the former TBS champion Chris Statlander is going to be on 0 hour. She's going to be facing Willow Nightingale, and this match is interesting for me because Stokely Hathaway has kind of inserted himself into this seemingly developing storyline, and he's trying to drive a wedge between Statlander and Willow. So we'll see. I think it's a fairly interesting match, though. I don't like that Statlander has gone from TBS champion to 0 hour. That, to me at least, you guys can feel free to disagree, obviously, but to me, going from TBS champion, being in the main show and all that, to a 0 hour match just kind of feels a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly agree. But we've seen that happen a few times. We've seen wrestlers go from being in title matches and being champions to being on the pre-show of a thing. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I know it has happened. Hell, we've had a world champion be on the pre-show while holding the belt, MJF.
True.
Well,
that was a different. It was a different
Yeah,
situation,
Yeah,
different.
that was
but
a different situation. But
actually, it's happened twice.
no, your
I
point
think
is
they're
still valid.
I
Yeah,
think they're trying to find a third party for the Billy Starks Athena.
Meaning what?
Something to do with like the winner of this match goes faces Athena. I don't know. I think they're trying to tie more of ROH into AEW. Try to get more of the women up. I'm hopeful that's what this is, anyways.
You mean like this would the winner of this advances to like a triple threat match, like Athena versus Billy Starks versus.
Potentially,
Okay.
potentially. I just think in general the women are getting booked better, and I think they're going to bring more of the good talent from Ring of Honor up. I'm hoping this is something to do with that. I don't want it to just be a throwaway match. I want something to come of it.
I think something will definitely come from it because it is it is an ongoing story. I mean, we've had the potential wedge between Stat, Willow, and Sky started when Julia inserted herself. This could well be Stokely swooping in to try and take advantage of an already existing situation. To what end? Don't know. We'll have to see where things go. Um, I don't think there's nothing inherently wrong with the former champion being moved into a mid card story. There's nothing inherently wrong with a former champion or a champion being on the pre-show. It is a warm-up show after all. But given some of the matches that we have on the main card, and then having two hometown girls, one of which is a champion, put on the pre-show, this specifically feels like it's the wrong way round. It's like the casino class, so the Continental Classic 8-man. I know why that exists, but that's got no real stakes to it. That's just finishing things off. I would rather that was on the pre-show and put Stat Willow on the main card, if I'm honest. But it is
Three
what it
women's
is.
matches on the main card.
Well, Stokely is still one of the directors of Ring of Honor. So, as you say, Faulkner, some integration with ROH in that regard could be interesting, but I think it's too soon to say what the angle's going to be. I'm just not too happy about those two being on the pre-show, but hopefully though they'll get some time. They'll get a good quarter of an hour.
I still think it's going to be a fantastic match.
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic match, but it's just a shame it's not on the pay-per-view. Although, devil's advocate, if we are talking about Tony saying he's consciously putting more stuff into the women, this, that, and the other, a match for the women that isn't constrained by commercial time, picture-in-picture, or timing constraints of anything else, that is then free to see on YouTube, potentially is a positive. It could actually be a nice uninterrupted showcase of two of the better women in the division going at it unfiltered, unfettered for a quarter of an hour. Everyone can see it, so that could be a positive
for a women's show match. That's two very good choices for that. Yeah,
most definitely. I mean, Jade Cargill's final match in AEW, she looked $1 million because she was there with Statlander, somebody who could match her strength and carry the spots. Jade looked amazing, and that's because of Stat. And Willow's no slouch either. So it's going to be a great match, and it'll be a good showcase.
Right. I fully agree with you that this is going to be a great match. I would prefer it to be on the main card, as you said, LaFuron. I mean, heck, you go back to, I think it was Full Gear 2022. There were 3 women's matches on that card because we had the women's title match. I think it was Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm.
that is correct.
We had the TBS championship match. I think it was
Jade and Nyla.
Oh, yeah, Jade and Nyla. And then we had Saraya against Britt Baker. So I think that's why you could have justified having Willow versus Statlander on the main card. Granted, I get Full Gear 2022 was a while ago, but we have seen it happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue either way. I mean, would we like to see them with the prestige of being on the pay-per-view? Yes, they both deserve actual pay-per-view time because the money's bigger for them. By the same token, you know, as I said, suggested this could be a good showcase for everyone to see what the women can do when unshackled, which is exactly what happens in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor doesn't have timing constraints or commercial constraints, and Tony Khan books the women very, very well, and they always look $1,000,000.
Absolutely.
0 Hour could be the same thing for AEW women.
Athena's
So you can argue either way.
Athena's ROH run has been the best work of her entire career, and that's thanks to Tony Honor's booking.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony Honor, it's stuck. I do apologize. Let's thank Danhausen for that. I stole it from him.
Very nice, very evil.
Ah, yes, Mr. Fourth Judge last night.
Yes. So do we want to make a pick on this match?
Sure. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say Willow's gonna go over.
I agree.
Stat.
One Willow.
How
I
dare
want
you?
Stat, but I think Willow.
How dare you shame my woman's stat? Don't you do that to me, you motherfuckers.
I love Chris Statlander, but I think it would be much bigger for Willow to go over in this match.
Yeah.
I think Stat's actually going to win this match. She's the former champion. She just lost her belt. I think she needs the win a little bit more. And I think that would also push the story with her and Stokely Hathaway and wherever this whole thing is going a little bit more.
Well,
Stats going over, I think, in a worked, sloppily fashion, just to seed a bit more doubt and to give Stokely more fuel to be fluid with the truth and to turn the screw a little more.
Do you think there's a possibility this could lead to a Chris Statlander heel turn?
Nope.
That'd be amazing, though.
Nope.
No disrespect to Chris, but I don't think right now she has the strength of character delivery to actually pull off a heel turn. And for me, there's nothing more boring than a voiceless heel who just beats people up. The only person who's ever been able to pull off a silent heel was Dean Malenko. Silent violence. I don't think Stat could pull off a heel turn just yet. She needs to get her chops in.
And also,
that's the only thing she's missing. It's the only thing she's missing.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that statement. While we're sticking with the topic of heels, we have our official headliner for the 0 Hour. Something that we're used to seeing for these free hour events leading into pay-per-views is Hook headlines an FTW match with Wheeler Yuta. Obviously, they've been building this for a couple weeks. I'm not convinced. I think that Hook is going over because they just don't know how to make him look like a loser. I think he's going to continue to carry that belt if they do put over Yuta. I would be honestly surprised. Rollins, what do you got on this one?
I don't think it would make sense to have Wheeler Yuta win the FTW championship when he already has the ROH Pure Rules championship, or I'm sorry, just the ROH Pure championship. My mistake there. But regardless, I don't think Wheeler Yuta needs to have 2 belts. So I got a Hook.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to me. I always question these statements when you make them, Rollins. That drives me crazy. It doesn't have to make sense. It could be interesting depending on what the angle of the dangle is, if you catch my drift. So that's just my opinion. I don't want to challenge your greater intellect, but C-Boss, what do you got on this one, bud?
So this is an FTW rules match, and I'm about to look up the rules right now because I have no clue what FTW rules are.
There are none.
ECW street fight, basically. Yeah. Anything goes, but the pin or submission in the ring.
Okay. But yeah, I think Hook's going over. I do think that this whole mini feud between Wheeler Yuta and Hook is going to end up with Hook joining the Blackpool Combat Club. I just don't see any other way out of this. Just don't have Danielson be the one recruiting him, because Danielson's 0 for 2.
Fair
Tried
point.
to
His
try,
poor eye.
tried to recruit Daniel Garcia. Nope. Tried to recruit Ricky Starks. Nope. Leave the recruiting to Mox and Claudio. They apparently know how to get it done.
They haven't recruited anyone in over a year, bud.
Well, Garcia's
I
a
know.
little bit different because that was supposed to be what they're going to do. But, yeah, I think obviously Hook's going over.
Yeah, bummer.
Yeah.
I'm going to curveball for you. Utah's going over because the way Utah won his third pure championship against Shibata was by being a cheating little shit. Every defense he's had since, he has been a cheating little shit. That's why Danhausen came down, for crying out loud, to actually make an explicit point that we see you cheating. The judges are constrained by what they can do in a pure rules match. they can't override the official, but they are there watching everything that happens. If, say, Utah is in a pure rules match, cheats like a mother trucker, but the ref doesn't see it, and then the match ultimately goes to a draw, a time limit, then the referees get involved. They can then turn around and say, well, you've been cheating the entire match, we're putting a decision against you. That's where that works. The fact that Utah won his third title and has been defending it by cheating, i.e. moving beyond pure rules, I think he's going to go down the cocky, arrogant route, make good of his Blackpool Combat Club training, and he's going to take every possible shortcut he can, and he's going to beat Hook for the F2W championship. Then, depending on how much they want to milk it, you can either do it soon or you can do it at Supercard of Honor when they go at it again, and Hook takes the pure title off Utah. Utah can be all arrogant and say, I beat you at your own game. Hook can fire back in exactly the same way. I think that's where this is going. So they're gonna switch belts, and then there's going to be some resolution. Maybe the resolution, the rubber match will be, say, Supercard of Honor, when, I don't know, Hook unifies. Hook takes his belt back, and he remains pure champion, which would beautifully lead on to my program with Shibata that I've been fantasy booking for about 2 years. But for the here and now, I can see Yuta taking every shortcut, going over Hook, becoming FTW champion, lauding it that he beat Hook at his own game, and then that moves the program forward between them for then Hook to then pick up the Pure Championship because he beat Yuta at his own game, and they have a bit of a fight, ongoing fight. That's where I'm going.
Fight forever. So yeah, honestly, LaFurin, I love that idea. Sensibly, I want to say they don't know how to book Hook against losing. That's just not a thing. I want to see Wheeler Yuta go over just because it's going to piss off the plebs. That's just me as a person. I could be quite cynical at times. Let's move on to the main card. We have the first match of the night, the Who's Leaving AEW first match, the Andrade El Idolo or Miro.
Release contract on a pole match.
Yeah, so I don't want to talk controversy or news until Tuesday, but both of these guys have been bitching up a storm about where they're at, where they're headed. Andrade actually came back this week and fired back and said, I'd stay in AEW if they paid me. He's not worth MJF money. It's not happening. So Miro hasn't really been in a program for the past year and a half, so it's not realistic for me to believe that they're going to put him over for absolutely no reason with Andretti's employment contingent on looking like a winner. That's the behind the scene stuff for what's happening on screen. I think it'd be more interesting to see Andretti to get put over because Miro's a cuck. Go ahead, Rollins.
I mean, I think the reason they're having this match is because CJ Perry is involved, and Miro is basically pissed that she left him in her manager role to be with Andrade. So that's why I think Miro's going to win this match, and then CJ Perry ends up getting back with him. But I would prefer Andrade to win in this case. I like Andrade's skill set a little more. I think his style fits with AEW a little more. Just one quick side note. I'm disappointed that we didn't get a second match between Powerhouse Hobbs and Miro, because I heard their match at All Out was fantastic.
Yep.
Meat.
So,
Meat.
Meaty men slapping the meat.
so I wish
this
we had gotten a round 2 between them. But in terms
I
of
hope you're well, Biggie. I hope you're well.
go ahead,
Poor
C-Boss.
dude.
So this is the custody. So this is the custody of CJ Perry ladder match, right?
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
What is it with
I'm-
you guys booking 3 months ahead?
I
Slow
don't
it
know,
down.
man.
Slow it down.
CJ Perry hanging from a ladder. You have to retrieve her.
No,
No,
it's
from a-
just,
from
no,
a
it's just her and
forklift.
Miro's wedding papers.
Oh God! Oh boy!
Or if you want
Oh.
to get a little spicier, divorce papers.
Oh no, it's
Oh
not.
God!
Yeah,
Anyway,
that makes things worse. But
anyway,
yeah,
focus on this match tonight.
so this match right here, I see no reason to not put Andrade over. I think he should go over in this match. I think CJ Perry is gonna find some way to screw Miro over because he had forsaken her and whatnot, and she wants revenge. So she is gonna screw him over, and Andrade is gonna win. Later down the line, she's gonna screw Andrade over, and Miro's gonna win. Not in the same match.
So you think
got
this
Walter.
is the first of like 2 or 3 matches in a row?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I see no reason not to. Had the big blow off at Revolution.
Yeah, I
Why
agree.
not?
It's probably not a one and done. I unlike you guys, I'm excited for Andrade to leave. I don't like him. I want him gone.
Well, what's
I
your
appre-
yeah?
I
What's your,
appreciate his work, but
Yeah.
and I'll enjoy his work as long as he's in AEW. But if he doesn't want to be there, off you trot. If he's causing a problem, then set him at home to the end of his contract. Doesn't bother me either way.
I didn't give an actual prediction. Yeah, Andrade's gonna win.
I would be disappointed if Miro goes over tonight because Miro's made a point of getting in CJ's face ever since the C2 started, saying I'm going to destroy your client. It's like, no, you're not. If you've got any love for me, you'll leave him alone. And as always, cross fingers behind his back. Okay, I'll leave him alone. It's like, yeah, you leave him alone as long as the tournament's running. He hasn't got that excuse anymore. Are they going to bring CJ Perry's finger accident into the equation? I know I'm cardy enough to do it. Miro can go absolutely apeshit for what Andrade has allowed to happen to CJ. I would be disappointed if Miro goes over because there's no point to blow it off that quick. The angle's only just started. So Andrade goes over in some very, very dirty way. A semantic tweak to what you said, C-Boss. CJ doesn't screw over Miro. CJ does her job and defends and protects and supports her client. So any CJ interference in the match isn't to fuck Miro, it's to bolster Andrade, which is an important linguistic clarification to make to fuel Miro's next promo and the next exchange him and CJ have. So I think Andrade is going over to move this on into an ongoing angle. With CJ interference.
I mean, CJ not fucking Miro might be, the problem to begin with if we really want to dig a couple layers deeper. But I know, I got the spice today, bud.
You do, you really do, and I love it.
My kids are all over the place. I'm just trying to focus on pod. I got kids, I got dog, my soon-to-be angry wife waking up. All right, guys, moving on. We got Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Whose house? Swerve's house. As much as I love fucking love Keith Lee. I'm going to say it loud enough for the people that aren't listening. Keith Lee is one of the most slept on talents in AEW. I realize that he's been on light duty due to long-term COVID. Swerve is kind of on a roll right now. They're building the character into an obvious, main title feud, hopefully geared towards Revolution. I see Swerve going over here, although I do want Keith Lee to go over Rollins.
I mean, you see my name, Swervin Rollins. I'm going Swerve Strickland here. 2024 needs to be the year of Swerve Strickland. I mean, he just came off of a huge victory over Hangman Page, going 2-0 against him. He got screwed over in the Continental Classic against Jon Moxley. Swerve needs to win this match. Let me say it like this. I think Keith Lee needs to win this match more than Swerve because Swerve has already elevated himself, like you said, Shane, to that main level or main event level star. Keith Lee is kind of middling around a little bit, so that's why I think Keith needs to win a little bit more. But they're not going to take the momentum away from Swerve. This is Swerve Strickland all day, every day.
Yeah, I agree. I love both of these guys. I've been watching both of them since they were both in NXT. I'm a huge fan of Swerve. I'm a huge fan of Keith Lee. This match was made so that I could enjoy two of my favorite wrestlers currently active in the ring. I have Swerve going over, but I think Keith Lee is going to put on a show, and he's going to do what he does best. And he's going to be the big guy, but also keep up with the smaller guy, if that makes any sense. What you got, Volkner?
I think this has potential for match of the night.
Really?
Hopefully
Absolutely.
it does. Yeah. I
I'm
think
surprised by that
Swerve's
a
going
little
to win,
bit.
though. But they're both extremely athletic. They have the history. They both should be going over. It's hard to tell you who should go over more. But yeah, I think it might have potential for match of the night. I'm excited for that.
I'm surprised by that take, actually. Although I understand where you're coming from.
I'd have to concur. It's a contender for match of the night, most definitely. However good MJF Joe's going to be, Swerve and Lee are going to be doing similar size differential matches, storytelling, but without being hobbled by injuries or anything like that. It's going to be fantastic. Simple, likely booking for me. Swerve goes over in a very hard fought match where he acknowledges Keith at the end. There's no need for Swerve to be an out and out piece of shit heel anymore. He's just over because he exists, and that momentum is never get taken away from him. Why would an out and out heel have cartoon style text graphics on his Tron entrance? That's a bit of a strange thing. So I've got no problem with seeing Swerve actually acknowledge Keith Lee at the end. Maybe even handshake to just draw that line.
I was about to ask if you thought he was getting a handshake or not. Actually,
I can, at the very least, I can see Swerve maybe offering it, depending on what you want to do with Keith at that point. That's, I think, is simple, most likely booking. If you're on crazy fantasy booking, the match goes similarly, hard fought, very very tough to see a winner, right up until Swerve gets the edge and goes for another breeze block demolition. Just when Swerve is about to take Lee out again, Shane Taylor Enterprises runs down. So Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, and get involved to save Keith from the breeze block, possibly getting a DQ in the process. Swerve is the visual winner, retains the heel status because of what he's prepared to do, and then move things on a little more between Keith Lee and Shane Taylor, because there was no way that match at Ring of Honor Final Battle was a blow off. It didn't feel big enough. So I've got a funny feeling that Shane might use that as a bargaining chip with Keith. It's like, well, look, I saved you from getting taken out again. I know you beat me, but we were the Pretty Boy Killers for so long. We've had our differences, but let's see if we can do this again. That's my crazy fantasy booking, but I think the former is more likely.
The promos these gentlemen cut within the past couple of weeks leading into this bout indicate that this might be their final stake at each other. Keith Lee's got unfinished business, and it seemed like Swerve is just like, this, I knew it was coming. Let's just get it done and over with. I think this might be putting a lid on this storyline or being used to develop further storyline, depending on how the match turns out. I could very much see this ending with Swerve Strickland putting him on the brick and maybe saying, hey, man, I don't need to do this. I've already beaten him. This guy used to be my partner. It's time to move on from these tactics. I'm already on top. This in the other direction, maybe be Keith Lee on the giving side of this. This was done to me. I need to show this punk, what it actually is. I have a debt to be, he owes, a debt to be repaid. And this is how I'm going to get it, and walk out of there clean as a whistle. It could go in either direction. It's going to be compelling one way or the next.
Yeah. I mean, even in my crazy fantasy land and Shane Taylor gets involved, I can still see that being a line, that'll still be a line drawn between Swerve and Keith anyway. It just feed into more things for Keith going on, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You know what I find interesting about this actually is we had that cinder block segment a while back, and yet this is just going to be a regular match. There's not like a no DQ stipulation. I know we have the no DQ match later on with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, but I'm surprised this isn't like a steel cage match or.
Well, it's not enough of a blood feud, is it? I mean, and also as well, there hasn't really been the time, given Swerve's participation in the C2, to really ramp things up to blood feud levels again. To then blow off in a huge step. I honestly think, as far as the timing of the booking goes, it's like, right, we know Keith has been sidelined and he's not been the guy he's been for so long. We have an opportunity now that Keith is in good shape right now. Let's just get this done. If we try and spend another 3 months building up to some sort of death match or cage match at Revolution, that's 3 months down the line. Let's not take the risk that Keith's going to drop off. So get it done. Strike while the iron's hot. Brilliant. How the stories progress and how the characters progress beyond that is all going to be down to the finish. The cinder block is most definitely foreshadowing. They wouldn't bring that out and remind everyone of what happened between the two of them unless it's going to serve a purpose. So that's definitely foreshadowing in some way.
So
But
do you think that that would mean like there's a ref spot and that's when the cinder block gets involved, or what?
Yeah.
It might not even be this match that it gets involved. It could be a future thing still.
Yeah. Could be anything. It's definitely foreshadowing and reminding everyone of what went down between them. But we'll see. One way or another, I think for the here and now, this is the conclusion of Swerve and Keith. Strike while the iron's hot, while Keith is healthy. Just get it done. Close that little hole. Revisit maybe later on. All depends on where the finish goes. But one way or another, both guys can move on from this.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree on that. We could pivot now into our twofer on 8-man tags. We have an 8-man tag followed by an 8-man tag. First up, we have Les Ex Gods and the Retirees versus doesn't deserve to hold the tag team championships and some Don Callis punks. That is Sammy Guevara, Chris Jericho, Darby and Sting versus Starks, Big Bill, Hobbs, and Takeshita. I'm really just excited to see Takeshita wrestle today. I think he's one of the more underutilized talents. I realize he's booked all over the world. He's working AAA. He's working Japan. He's working DDT. He's kind of like cutting his jib out of touring, internationally. I would like to see, Ricky Starks gets stuffed because really, in comparison to everyone else in this match, and I'm sorry to say it, Rollins, Ricky ain't been looking so hot lately. I really want to see a push on Big Bill. I'd like to see them drop these tag titles. Following this match, now that we know that Guevara and Jericho are now gunning for them, I don't think we're going to see that match until Revolution. But in terms of just the 8-man match, I foresee the good guys going over here. Sting and Darby, Jericho and Sammy. Rollins.
I mean, they had to put something together because of the Kenny Omega situation, which, again, we send all our positive thoughts and energy to Kenny Omega. He is a great wrestler.
One could say hopes and dreams.
Yes. Hope you get better soon, because I love watching Kenny Omega wrestle. There's a reason he's called the best bout machine. But anyway, focusing on this match in particular, it makes sense for Jericho, Guevara, Darby, and Sting to win. It just feels like it's just kind of there. I don't feel like there's any real stakes in this match. It's just kind of there. Yeah.
Good to see Takeshita back, and actually, it was good to see him cut a promo on Rampage last night. He did a really good promo in his native language. In fact, everyone in that Don Callis promo segment cut a great promo, except for one person, and that is unfortunately Ricky Starks. I thought his promo fell a bit flat, unfortunately. He's a good talker. It's just sometimes not all of his promos stick.
There's a reason my fandom for Ricky has fallen off.
But I do like this match. I do like Chris Jericho being back with Sammy Guevara. I do like that Darby and Sting are getting involved because, Sting is a few months away from his last match. Might as well use him when you can. Now, I actually do think that Ric Flair is going to get involved with this match because of Sting. I think there's going to be like some Don Callis shenanigans, and Ric Flair is going to come out, and he's going to, make Don Callis take a bump, which I would be fine with. But I do think that the good guys are going over. As for who gets the pin and who takes the pin, I'm going to say Sammy Guevara pins not Powerhouse Hobbs.
Takeshita?
No. I actually think it will be Sammy Guevara pinning Ricky Starks.
I wouldn't be surprised. Quick note on this match. It was originally going to be Kyle Fletcher in this match, not Takeshita.
Exactly. I did hear about that. Why was Fletcher removed? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
Maybe it's because they wanted to actually use Takeshita. Bill, you got any thoughts about this match?
Man. Rollins, you kind of said it, my feelings best. You said just kind of there. I can't get behind this match. I truly just don't care about this one.
You know what match I would prefer to be on the card instead of this? House of Black versus FTR. That match is so much more interesting.
More build up.
Nothing has happened of note just yet. The fact that Malachi burnt a picture of Bold's family is just the start. This needs a lot more cooking, because when things kick off, it is going to be an absolute blinder. It's going to be fantastic.
FTR already challenged House of Black to a match.
Yeah, well, House of
More storyline though before that happens.
House of Black do everything on their terms.
That feud's been going for at least a month now, though.
With about 25 minutes of screen time in total, because everything else has been going on. But anyway,
we still need to introduce Blackhausen.
Oh yes, please.
Oh boy,
yes.
Honestly, when Kenny got sidelined, we said we've said on the pod here, we've said in the Discord a couple of times. There's absolutely no need to keep Jericho on the pay per view. I am frustrated that it's in some capacity is still going ahead, and Stat and Willow are on the pre-show. If there's anything, I mean, this match, because this match is a complete nothing burger. Okay, yeah, the sex gods have reunited, and Jericho currently in his face role is going to do everything he can to try and get Sammy over as a face. Well, okay, best of luck. Um, you know, Bill and Ricky aren't going anywhere. There was absolutely no need to cram this in. This is the main event of your pre-show. If there is, really, and then Willow Stat can be on the main show. There's absolutely no need for this match to exist, other than to keep Jericho on the pay-per-view and continue to drip feed Jericho versus the Don Callis family, which wasn't even his fucking angle to begin with. So, so it is what it is. By virtue of the fact that Sting will be retiring from AEW undefeated, simply because of that, Team Jericho's going over. Who gets the pin, hopefully it will be done to further some stuff going into the new year. Fine. Otherwise, I can see Sting, making somebody tap with the Scorpion Deathlock. If not Sting getting the win, then how about Sting puts Callis at the very least in a Scorpion Death Drop just for a pop, But yeah, Team Jericho's going over just simply because Sting's in the match. So
yeah, unfortunately, this is probably one of the more predictable bouts on this card. It's in the words of another leader from another fan community of ill repute, this might be my bathroom break match. We'll have to see. Expectation is it's going to be a spot fest because that's typically what all these guys are pretty much known for. But let's move on to the second 8-man tag.
As long as everyone can get their shit in an entertaining way, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But
one thing I would love to see from this match is Jericho puts someone in the walls of Jericho while Sting puts someone in the Scorpion Deathlock at the same time. That would get a huge crowd reaction.
Yeah, that I could honestly foresee that happening.
I have one quick question for you, C Boss. Do you at Grand Slam we saw Sammy turn heel on Jericho? Do you think? I know that we had the segment on Rampage and they're going to be going after the tag titles, but do you think there's a scenario where Sammy goes back on his word and he turns heel again?
Before the promo last night, I thought that this match was just going to be Sammy Guevara playing double agent and screwing Jericho over.
Basically, that's what I'm getting at.
After the promo last night, I don't think so. I think they're going to have Jericho and Sammy stick together, and I think Jericho is going to retire and then go off it, or at some point when he does retire, it's going to be putting Sammy over, and he's going to stick around as Sammy Guevara's manager.
There was an interview recently with Sammy when he stated that he didn't want to become a heel to begin with, but he was happy with the way they went about doing it. So to make him turn heel again so quickly, I don't see that happening. There's no benefit to it.
Yeah, and
Sammy's alignment has always matched whatever Jericho's doing, because for better or for worse, Sammy is a Jericho boy. Jericho's has done everything he can to keep Sammy on camera in the spotlight, and as a result, Sammy's gone the way of the Jericho feud. This is a good opportunity now that Jericho is in a face run, to now get Sammy over as a face. So then when ultimately they do go their separate ways, with a bit of luck, the face momentum carries on, and then Sammy's finally a made man. But we'll see.
And the reason I'm asking that is because, before Sammy went away due to his concussion, and of course, Ty Mello having a baby, he was a heel and he was part of the Don Callis family. So it just feels weird that he just comes back and realigns himself with Jericho. And it's like,
But
there's.
that's exactly what Sammy said in his promo, though. I've been away. I've had a concussion. I've had a family, and it's very difficult being in your shadow, Chris. But I've reflected, and I see that I was blaming you for a lot of my own shortcomings. So I'm trying. I'm trying to be better. I'm sorry for what I put you through. You know, it was one of the few times you don't need to do a 12-month Jericho program to get the point across. You know, just did it there. Just did it there, and then 2 minutes, big hug, all's forgiven. Jericho in turn apologized to Sammy. So, I mean, Guevara joining the Don Callis family was nothing more than to facilitate more Jericho ego stretching to put Kenny's angle on him, as far as I'm concerned. Sammy turning on Chris made no sense, to be honest. Um, because everyone else in the JAS got pissed off with Chris and then moved on. They wanted nothing to do with him. Why would Sammy get pissed at Chris and then continue to rage? But that's what they did. Then Sammy got hurt, went away, had his kid, come back, cut the promo, and saying, "Actually, I was wrong. I was projecting. I'm sorry. Done, dusted, all explained. Perfectly fine."
Fair enough.
Yeah, they glossed that one over pretty well. I have to agree with your point on that. I would also like to expand on that just a little bit before we swing over to the next 8 man. You said this last week, LaFurin, and I feel this more the more I see Jericho on screen, man. That dude Fozzy needs to go on tour for a couple months. I would like to see them run this Little X Gods, closer to Revolution now that we know that it's going to happen. But I am just like to the Jericho thing is just so. I'm so sick of being up to my eyeballs in Jericho. And I used to be able to say, hey man, my whole entire Mount Rushmore is 4 different hairstyles of Chris Jericho. And now it's just like, I'm just, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done with Jericho. So
I watched Rampage this morning, and an hour, and I was sat there with an hour. It's only an hour-long show that traditionally is rammed to the rafters, and I'm sat there going, "Why are you milking the full Judas entrance?"
yeah, I
I'm
know.
I'm not singing along anymore, and they're doing the full Judas entrance for a talking spot on an hour show when people are already tired because they've had 2 hours of Dynamite. Just stop it, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
Please.
I mean, it's ego stroking, as
Yeah.
we all know that Chris Jericho writes his own promos, writes himself into his own stories. He's head of his own creative. He's one of the 16 guys that is in that position in this company, pivoting over to the next 8 man tag. And I want to just gloss over this one really quick because we already kind of know what it is. We have the Silver Rejects versus the Blue Rejects, Claudio, Danielson, Briscoe, and Garcia versus Brody, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Roosh. I'm just going to predict. I would like to see Garcia give the pin to Brody King. And just to say that he did it, it wasn't lightning strikes twice. And then, we are starting to redevelop Daniel Garcia's character because I really don't feel like any other man in this match needs to fucking go over with the exception of Jay White. Jay Lethal's about to go do a trek over in Ring of Honor. I could feel it happening, it Wolf, thank you for popping in. Unban my boy. I don't want to go hang out with those dorks anyways. Self-indulgent dweebs think they know better than we do. What do you guys got on this one?
I actually think Roosh is the one that's going to get the pin for his team. I think Roosh needs to be put over a little bit more because he's just recently come back. Granted, I know he was part of that ladder match at Full Gear, but still, I think Roosh needs the momentum a little bit more than the other members of this match. And if I had to guess, he'll probably pin Mark Briscoe.
No.
My boy.
Don't
No.
do the chicken farmer like that, my guy.
I'm
Bro.
sorry.
Mean, evil.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mark, but I feel like he's the one that can take the pin and not be hurt by it.
Yeah, that
Kinda
hurts
fair.
my. He's been hurt
I'm
enough this year, man. Leave my boy alone.
I'm sorry, but
You should,
I do really like Roosh, and I think he's the one that should get the pin.
I could see that. Yeah. The one thing that's interesting is there's one guy from the Gold League, Mark Briscoe, on the blue team, and there's one guy from the Blue League, Brody King, on the Gold team. That's a little weird.
Oh,
I think it is. I think it is playing into. I think it's going to play into the finish. The finish is going to be between Daniel Garcia and Brody King.
hell yeah.
That's the reason why that's the reason why Brody King is with the Gold Leaguers and Mark Briscoe is with the Blue Leaguers, because it is going to be Daniel Garcia and Brody King. They've already teased that feud. They cut the Daniel Garcia and Daddy Magic Matt Menard cut an excellent promo last night saying, "We're coming for you, House of Black, no matter whether you like it or not. We'll get our lick back whenever."
just want to mention this comment by Wolf. A Roosh versus Will Ospreay feud in 2024? Hell yes.
Yeah.
Where do I sign up for that?
Well, you could sign up after
so
Osprey
you-
finally
so-
hit.
AEW fight over a VPN, $9 a month.
So, Rollins, so you take the physics book, you throw it out the window, and that's how you sign up. Because there's going to be no physics in that match. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it.
Like,
It's gonna
That
be
grab-
great.
match would be absolutely phenomenal.
Don't
I-
take your eyes off the screen for a second.
yeah,
No.
Gravity isn't going to be there either, both literally and metaphorically.
Yeah, no. There's a reason they call Osprey the aerial assassin, and Roosh is a luchador, so you know he high flies. And he flies
yes,
high.
he's a luchador, but I don't really see Roosh doing a lot of high flying maneuvers. He's just more insane, and he's a bull in a china shop.
Well, he had his moments as Ring of Honor champion, but he's not a traditional flyer.
No,
So-
he's not. But he does. He can do high flying spots. I've seen him do
In his
some.
earlier days in his career, yes, he was much smaller. So yes, yeah.
Volkner, who do you got? Who do you got on this one?
I have the right side, the Brody King team. I don't think there's any secret message behind switching two members. I really think it is Brody and Claudio being on the same team is two fucking giants, and then you got a bunch of small dudes on their side. I think it's nothing more than that. As much as I want to see Brody's get the pin here, and that is my pick for this, I still think I want Garcia to pin Lethal. I want to see that happen.
Give Jay Lethal one last burial before he goes to Ring of Honor as the and
Never
becomes
enough
the Black
burials.
Machismo. Hey,
Yeah,
they're still burying Ruby Soho to this day.
Good. Fuck her. Sorry, but
Oh, dude.
don't let Cool Hand hear you say that. Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. Having Brody and Claudio on the same team massively weights things towards that side. You know, Roosh, however big he is, can't do both. The fact that it's, you know, Brody King, you know, could lead into what happened with the promo and everything. Similarly with Mark and Jay on opposite sides again, we could get another, get a little enhancement of what they've been discussing. Just kind of fuel that a little bit. We may well get some story beats come out of this. I hope so. Otherwise, it's a G1 climax tradition. The C2 has been patterned after the G1, and from the G1, you round out the event with tag matches from everyone who was involved. That's why this is there. It just completes that feel. Jay White, I can see Jay White getting a big pin, maybe
Against
Just-
Danielson, possibly.
maybe. It would be nice to see Garcia pin Brody again, just to prove it wasn't a fluke. Although I didn't like that finish anyway. something between Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal for the finish would move that along. Otherwise, Jay White maintains his momentum and what he was saying, and he's the one to pick up a big win, a big pin, say maybe over Danielson.
What would you guys think if going into 24, we got a feud between Bryan Danielson and Jay White? Do you think that would be a good feud and
Amazing matches.
That'd be
subsequent
fantastic.
match?
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
two faction leader. I mean, a faction against faction. Bullet Club versus BCC. Two
Yeah.
heel factions against each other specifically. That could be a grand spectacle.
I wonder if we could be. I wonder if they maybe plant the seeds for that
Maybe.
leading into Revolution.
Also, as well, if Danielson wants to work more Japan dates as part of his final full-time year, then it would be good practice for him to work more New Japan style against New Japan alumni. So on a purely practical level, Danielson and Jay White work an NJPW style match as part of their feud. Good exposure for D-Bry. So, but yeah, it's
I'd love to see
an
that.
exhibition match to close off the C2. Story beats would be great, but it's just going to be 8 fantastic guys beating the ever-loving piss out of each other to wrap up 5 weeks of 10 guys beating the ever-loving piss out of each other. It's great.
And maybe we do, in fact, out of this 8-man tag match, maybe everyone gets a storyline out of this. Everyone's gonna have a moment to do something. We already know Garcia's going after the House of Black, so this match could, him and Brody King could have a spot where it's like that furthers that storyline. Maybe we do get Bryan Danielson and Jay White getting something. Maybe we do get something between Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe. And
Add his Roosh
all there.
factor into the equation then.
maybe Roosh gets something with Claudio. Maybe we have a 3-way faction feud between LFI, the Blackpool Combat Club, and Bullet Club Gold.
Honestly,
love to see
based on LFI's video packages for when they were coming back, I would very much like to see LFI versus BCC, because that would
Absolutely.
be violent and finally do something to justify Preston Vance's contract.
And
Bless him.
yeah,
Okay, moving along, guys. First women's match of the night, and I'm going to be as brief as I can be about this because I've already talked about Julia Hart enough this year, in other places. Fuck Julia Hart. Abaddon is rad. She is improved, or they have improved exponentially in ring, both in presentation and in execution. And I think if the intention was to move Julia Hart closer to a world championship, it would be to put the TBS title onto Abaddon, as they are a great example of all the good things happening in the mid card for the women. So yeah, fuck Julia Hart. I'll say it again. Fuck Julia Hart.
Fuck the Bucks.
CM
Don't
Punk.
let Lee Johnson hear you say that.
I'll keep this match, or this, very brief. This is probably going to be my break match. I'm not going to call it my bathroom break match, because I just don't care. Like, this feud or program, whatever you want to call it, hasn't really done anything for me. Like, it's just kind of there. So yeah, I don't care.
This match reeks of shenanigans. I do think that there's going to be something with Sky Blue. She's going to come out and attack Abaddon, or come out and attack Julia. Maybe she does a double turn and be like, "Hey, I'm going to help you, Julia." Nope. Nope. I want that TBS title for myself. Maybe Thunder Rosa gets involved again. The best part of the Abaddon Julia Hart feud was Thunder Rosa is back. This is not my break match. I have another intended, but the one thing I am intrigued with is Abaddon's getting a pay-per-view match. Has that ever happened before?
No.
It hasn't.
But they've not been ready until now.
That absolutely is true. I really want to see what Abaddon can do on a bigger stage than Collision or Rampage or Dynamite. So I'm going to watch this match because I'm intrigued at what Abaddon is going to do, not because of Julia Hart. I think character work, she's fine. Character work, she's really, really good, but her wrestling is just boring.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna let you finish this one off, Faulkner.
Well, prediction: Julie Hart's gonna win. Two things I think are potential coming from after this match, though. I see either Abaddon getting a character rework of sorts, kind of leaning away from her gimmick a bit, and definitely this is leading up to Thunder Rosa and Julia Hart. I don't think it's meant for Abaddon. She's just a placeholder currently.
Yep, Wolf agrees with you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not going to be any. There won't be any shenanigans in this match because I think that will actually do both Julia and Abaddon a disservice on the big stage. Run as many shenanigans as you want on TV to sell the match, to sell the story, but keep it clean for the pay-per-view. So it will be a Julia Hart win, but it will be a very, very hard fought win. Sky Blue will show up, but she will be immediately countered by Thunder Rosa. Whether that is going to be involve the two of them smacking each other around and going backstage, or whether they essentially circle each other at ringside and allowing the match to continue, remains to be seen. But I can definitely see this, as Wolf said, and as C's boss has said, as you said, Bill. Thunder Rosa is going to be facing Julia at some point in the reasonably near future. I think we may see a Black Mist spot, and Abaddon is just going to completely no sell it. Just because because that will fit with the visual and the gimmick absolutely, fantastically well. But that could well be a catalyst for a proposed gimmick refinement, as you just alluded to, Faulkner. The Black Mist doesn't turn you heel. It never has.
Yeah.
It's freed your mind. It never did anything to Pac because he's already a bastard. It never did anything to Sting because Sting, and certainly Crow Sting, has fully embraced his dark side. So he knows when to use it. It corrupted it freed the innocent and naive mind of Julia. She made her own decisions.
It made Penta go to his Penta Dark character, Penta Oscuro.
We had Penta Oscuro briefly, because
which was really enjoyable, actually.
Yeah, it was nice to see It was nice to see Pentagon Dark from Lucha Underground back. They did, obviously. You've got to nerf it a little bit because Lucha Underground went insane. But it was nice to see. It was nice to see
Pentagon Dark was just Pentagon Dark was just a monster.
Yeah, I loved that trios match last year, Death Triangle versus House of Black.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that was so good.
That was the match that made me a fan of Death Triangle, and then I got to see them live before All Out face United Empire.
Yes, we were at that Dynamite.
There, Crimes up.
Oh, we were.
It was a 5-star match, by the way.
And Crimes up as well.
Yeah,
that was the Kip Sabian return, right?
That was the Kip Sabian return.
I was two
Where
rows.
the hell's he been, by the way?
Yeah, not on our TV enough. I was 2 rows behind Kip
Didn't
Sabian.
he just face someone like on a collision like a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Sounds right. But anyway, getting back to this match, yeah, you are right, LaFuron, that like the Black Mist has had mixed results. Like it freed Julia Hart, as you say. It's affected Sky Blue. I'm still waiting to see where that goes. But
it did nothing to Willow.
That's
true. Remember that she got Black Misted.
It made her kind of bitchy for a bit.
Yeah, well, Willow's entire presentation is very nihilist anyway. Nothing matters, smile anyway. So
that is true.
you
That
know,
is true.
so she did. So she
And didn't
she
Anna
did
Jay also get blacklisted?
I don't
I
think.
don't know
No,
actually.
I don't think Anna has. Sky's doing her thing at the minute. So what happens when the Living Dead girl gets blacklisted? It frees the mind. Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? But I think for the visual, I think she's just going to completely no sell it, and Julia is going to shit herself. Break, she's going to dishonor the House of Black briefly, and she's
Wipe out
going
her
to
face and
run.
lick it.
She's going to run the fuck away, and then she'll come back. But yeah, Julia wins clean on a very hard fought match. Abaddon's going to look $1,000,000. She's going to no sell the Black Mist. Sky Blue and Thunder Rosa counter each other in some capacity, and then we'll see Thunder Rosa, Julia Hart in the future.
Yeah. I as much as I hate to admit that we know that the direction is going to be Thunder Rosa headed for that TBS title, it burns me to see Julia Hart continue to go over. I have my own reasons for this. Let's move on. We have the battle for Canada, the no disqualification TNT championship. We have Christian Cage, the Patriarch, versus the rated R superstar Adam Copeland. I
Or
almost
as
pulled
I'm calling this match, Shenanigan Central.
I almost pulled an old JR and called him Edge. RIP. Hopefully we get to hear him tonight, but to my understanding, his health is on the downside and he won't stop drinking. So our hearts go out to you as well, JR. I got Cope on this one, guys. It's a no-brainer.
I love that this is a no DQ match because you're just going to get story central with Nick Wayne, probably Nick Wayne's mom getting involved. I imagine Luchasaurus is probably going to get involved in some capacity. So I don't know how much actual wrestling there's going to be in this match. But regardless, yeah, I think Adam Copeland wins, especially because you had Christian Cage win in Montreal a few weeks back. It makes too much sense. But then again, in AEW, they do things all the time that you're just like, well, that didn't make sense. So we'll see.
Yeah. I actually have a surprise debut for this match, and it's going to play into the finish. Beth Phoenix is going to debut in All Elite Wrestling, and she's going to help her husband win the TNT title.
I'm gonna step
Still
in
under
here.
contract.
Yeah, WWE isn't releasing her contract. They're gonna hold her through 2026.
Well.
I mean, it would have been great to see Shayna take a glam slam. Don't get me wrong.
No, absolutely.
But no, she's under contract. It's not going to happen.
When I saw Rhea Ripley take that glam slam, I popped. I
like this from Wolf. Luchasaurus returns, but he turns on Christian.
I can absolutely
obvious.
see that. I think that's what's most likely to happen.
Oh no.
If it doesn't happen now, it's coming soon. He's going to turn on Christian very soon.
And if that happens, does Luchasaurus align himself with Adam Copeland?
No.
No, he's gonna go off on his own, and he's gonna look to the past and find an old friend. Jungle Botch Hack Perry.
Nope, he's not Jungle Boy. It's Jack Perry, damn it.
It's Jungle Bitch.
He's still
bitch.
Jungle Bitch to me, damn it.
Fine, Jungle Bitch.
I've got Cope on this one. I'm not going to try to predict any of the shenanigans that are going to happen because there's going to be too many. I'm excited for this match.
It is going to be shenanigan central. It's going to be crazy spots. It's just going to be insane. We're going to see Adam Copeland truly be rated R for the first time since the live sex celebration. But going back to the pre-show, Luchasaurus wins the 20-man to guarantee himself a shot at the TNT title. He is the decisive factor in the finish when he absolutely destroys Adam Copeland to grant Christian Cage the win, who then returns, which then beautifully sets up Luchasaurus to then take his revenge on Christian and to take his belt away.
That's hot.
Luchasaurus,
it is.
Or Killswitch, why are you doing this?
Luchasaurus may well even do that as Christian Cage is celebrating. He's got his two sons. He's got Shayna. The four of them are having a great big embrace, and then bam!
I
horny
personally would
headbutt.
rather see him
Glasgow
face Cope. Just one-on-one matches. I'd like
Oh,
to
that'd be
see
a great match.
Cope
Yeah,
versus Luchasaurus
yeah.
more than
Again?
Christian Cage versus Luchasaurus. Yes, again, absolutely.
It,
All
it,
day,
it was a
every day.
fantastic match. It was one of the, it was probably one of my Adam Copeland's first match in AEW was a really, really good match. And Luchasaurus really did a good job of making Adam Copeland look like he is still at his peak.
But it was also nice to see Luchasaurus work with somebody his own size.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely true.
There is meat and Hoss in AEW, but Luchasaurus he's not ripped. He's very tight. He's a bit on the lanky side. Hence,
Yeah, he's just tall.
why he's been able to pull out a lot of the Lucha stuff. Anyway, so it was nice to actually see somebody of the same physical proportions, and Copeland made him look great, and Luchasaurus made Copeland look great. So
Luchahausen.
I'd love to see Luchasaurus and Cope go at it again, but I just think that Luchasaurus is going for the ultimate revenge, and he guarantees Christian's retention. So Luchasaurus is the one to destroy the patriarchy.
Unmasked Luchasaurus. How is he on the mic?
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic on the mic.
I've never heard any of his. I've never heard his promos.
I
I've seen his
think I
face,
heard
but-
one of his. Wasn't he in NXT?
He was in NXT, but during his AEW run when Marco Stunt was still in Jurassic Express, they were feuding with Jericho and back then, the Inner Circle. And Luchasaurus grabs the microphone. He goes, "Rah, rah, rah," is how you guys would expect me to sound, but I actually have my master's degree in historical sciences.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna
No,
look
he
that up.
he absolutely has a fantastic promo voice. You wouldn't expect it from him.
Yeah, it was it was very cheeky, very clever. Just the way that he.
All right, I'll definitely have to look that up.
Yeah, Fioran. I think did Fioran dip out on this?
Temporarily, probably.
All right, we're gonna move on to Tony Storm and Riho, folks.
Uh,
Well, hard one for me to call. I love Tony Storm. I love Riho. I love Kenny Omega's girlfriend Riho. Jim Cornette wept. I'm a big Riho fan. This is going to be a match for sure. I don't think it's time to play. I don't want to imagine Tony Storm as a transitional champion. I do, however, don't have a problem with them popcorning belts. For anyone that's ever, been critical of that happening in a promotion, it has to happen sometimes. It's an absolute necessity, and you guys need to get over yourselves. But, yeah. From it bouncing, I think it'd be too soon to bounce this belt off of Tony Storm. Though I would not mind seeing Riho hanging on Rio's hips again. So.
Yeah.
I can't call. I'm not going to call this one, guys. This one's to the win for me. Rollins, what do you got?
I think Tony Storm's retaining, mostly because you can tell they're getting ready to do the feud between her and Mariah May. Mariah saying, "My in-ring debut is coming next week," or whatever it is. And the fact that Mariah May continues to hang around Tony Storm, you can just tell that feud is coming. So I would not take the belt off of Tony Storm, because then you can have that be a title feud. And if you want to, you can give the belt to Mariah May. What the hell? So I'll say Tony Storm retains.
I'm actually going to swerve. I'm going to go with Riho winning.
While you drive.
Yeah, I'm going to swerve while I drive. I'm going to have Riho win, and this puts Tony Storm into more of a psychotic state, and that leads to the Mariah May feud. And then, because Mariah May, she hasn't even made her in-ring debut yet, and people are already saying she should feud with Tony Storm for the title. It's like, you might want to calm down on that a bit. She hasn't even had a single match in the ring in AEW. She shouldn't be gunning for titles immediately. We don't even know what her wrestling's like, at least not in AEW.
I'm going to interject. What do you think is going to happen if Mercedes Moné actually shows up tonight?
Oh, I'm getting to that. No, I'm
Yeah.
getting to
Yeah.
Creaming
Oh.
my pants.
Yeah. So
I,
Um,
nothing. I would
see,
enjoy
see,
nothing
boss,
more
see,
than
boss. If Mercedes Monet debuts, just get ready to catch me.
Rollins, is it boss time?
Yeah.
Would it be this match or Julia Hart match?
Let's save the Monet for the end of this show.
Yeah, let's save it
because
for the
they're
spicy stuff.
yeah, like we're gonna have one or
That's
two
fair.
other things to talk about, and we still got two other matches to
But
pile through.
I do think Riho winning would do a lot more for Tony Storm's character, just furthering her madness. And like you could have like promos where like Tony Storm is messy, unkempt, and everyone's like, and she's like, I blame my loss on Mariah May or whatever, and that's what sets up the feud. This feud, the feud between Tony Storm and Mariah May doesn't have to be for the title because Mariah May hasn't had a single match in AEW yet. We don't know what she wrestles like. If you put her in a title feud, it may not end well. Don't just shoot someone immediately to the top without knowing what they're like in ring.
That's fair. I'll give you that. I do.
Plus,
Right,
I just want
Volkner.
to see.
Volkner. I'll pass it to you in 1 second, but I do think it's interesting the way Riho got to this title match tonight. She went through the other two members of the Outcasts in Ruby Soho and Saraya. Now she's going through the third member or the former third member, however you want to say it. So I think that's an interesting part of this match. Do I think it's going to tie in? No, but I don't think it's something that just can be ignored.
I see it.
I personally want to get to the juice, so Tony Storm next.
Here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
If you're saving Monet, then I will do a similar thing. If Tony Khan is correct, and they really are going to do a parody of the film All About Eve for Tony Storm and Mariah May's program, then the title is not necessarily contingent on being on Tony Storm for that angle to work. Tony can still be a star in her, fearing her decline and fearing the competition for Mariah May to come in as the Eve character and usurp her. So I have no preference either way. Whoever wins the title, because Tony Storm's character will be unaffected. So I'm just gonna enjoy that match. It's going to be great. I can see Tony retaining, but I have no preference either way.
Big ass same. Now on to the juice. I know this is about to get. We could get a little spicy with this one. We got Moxley versus Eddie Kingston, folks. We'll just start it off with the hot take. I love Mox. Being an Ohio native, it's hard not to. He has really redefined his character throughout the past 5 years. It's always lovely to see whatever he gets into. I think he's kind of broken himself away from the Blackpool Combat Club. On the other side of that, for all of you that misunderstand Eddie Kingston and love Dusty Rhodes, you are fucking hypocrites. I spoke to LaFuron on this earlier today. They are two birds in a feather. These are two guys that can look dead into the camera and speak to their audience. And for the people that actually understand Eddie Kingston's character, they will understand and digest anything that comes out of his mouth. He is a self-established bum that is living out his wildest dreams through the muck and sludge and dirt and the streets of Yonkers. He has built himself to be a force to be reckoned with. I would love to see Eddie go over in this match. It is a hard ball to call because Eddie certainly needs the win over Moxley, and Moxley certainly needs the fucking vacation with his daughter and wife, which I would love to see. As much as I love Mox, he's been on my television a little bit too much in the past 3 months as well. He came to bail us out, and he never sat back down. And I think the guy needs a breather. I think this is going to be a banger match. Well, we've been waiting for the feud between these two guys for a long, long time. They always, dance around it. Now we're going to get it directly in our faces. Votes on Eddie all day long. I'd like to see him hold all 3 belts, and not to the purpose of him being on other people's televisions, in other programs, and other promotions. I hope this absolutely skyrockets him to the moon. Rollins.
Well, this isn't the first time these two have had a match, because they had like an I Quit match in the main event of Full Gear for the AEW World Championship during the pandemic era of AEW. I do remember that. So this is definitely not the first time these two have gone at it.
It's the third time singles.
Yes.
They had a Dynamite match before the I Quit match.
Haven't they had 2 title matches against each other? I believe they have.
No, unless the Dynamite, I can't remember. Unless the Dynamite match before the I Quit match was also for the title.
I
Then
think they've
only ever faced each other in singles twice before.
Okay. But either way,
I had to check because he said it was 800. So
either way, though, I think Eddie is going to win here because of this simple reason. Danielson was saying, Eddie, you can't beat me. And then what did Eddie do? He went out and he beat Bryan Danielson. And then Moxley was kind of saying the same thing to Eddie, like, you can't beat me. I've beaten you each of the other previous times we've had matches against each other. So now this is Eddie getting his revenge and winning against the opponent who said he can't beat. So for that reason, I'm going with Eddie.
They've faced each other outside of AEW a few times, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they've tore up in the indies for as long as they've both been in the industry. But as far as AEW goes,
yeah, they've only faced each other twice in AEW.
This will be their third singles match.
So I'm gonna keep this brief because this is as I alluded to earlier with the whole break match thing. This is my break match. I have no interest in seeing it whatsoever. I do think Eddie's gonna win. Strap the belts to him. And I don't think Mox is going to get that vacation, Shane. And for one reason, he still has to wrestle against Will Ospreay and David Finlay at Wrestle Kingdom.
But that's only in less than a week.
That is true.
That's like 5 days.
And that's the other reason I know Eddie's going to win this match is because Moxley's going after the what did they call it? The IWGP Global Championship?
Yeah.
Because Moxley's already going after that belt, so it wouldn't make sense to have 3 other belts strapped to him, even though I know he's not going to win, because I think David Finlay is going to win that match 100%. All right, Bill, what you got?
I've been thinking about this one a lot lately, man. I do think Mox is going to win, but I still think he's going to be sitting out for a little bit here. The man needs a break almost as much as Eddie does. Eddie's just beat the shit. The only real thing I have to say is anybody that does not like Kingston, I hope you stub your toe.
I've said from the very beginning that the entire reason this is a Triple Crown is because it was Eddie Kingston's idea. He's a big AJPW fan. He likes the idea of establishing a Triple Crown, and it was his idea to drop his belts on a big stage in a big way so he could get his back sorted out. Yes, he has a New Japan Strong commitment. Battle of the Valley. So I desperately want Eddie Kingston to win because it is finally time to stop it with the underdog nonsense. It really is, because you look at what he's done this year. That is not the work of an underdog. He beats Kenta for the New Japan Openweight, for the strong openweight title in Japan, and is massively over there. He gets booked very favorably in the G1. He didn't qualify his group, unfortunately, but what ultimately stopped in qualifying was the loss to Evil. And Evil went above and beyond the usual cheating gimmick. He went insane in that match. Eddie was booked very strong against a truly evil. And he's massively over in Japan. He gets the big win against Claudio, which, is one of his semi-legit demons to win the Ring of Honor title. So he's in the same lineage as his heroes. His American heroes and his American mentors. He gets the win over Danielson now, to the point where Danielson's post-match promo, he's in tears because Eddie Kingston has now humiliated him. He feels humiliated and humbled that how can he now claim to be the best when he loses to Kingston? Kingston's now humbled the Dragon, who's going to be Superman for the rest of his run. He's beaten Jay White to kick Jay White out of NJPW, and Jay White is New Japan's first Grand Slam champion. And as if that wasn't a big enough deal, accolades, the first Grand Slam champion was a Gaijin. That is how much New Japan think of Jay White. And it was Eddie Kingston who kicked him out of New Japan. There is absolutely no reason now for Eddie Kingston to be the bum underdog. He can run that as a gimmick because it's now going to be a fuck you to his haters. He's not the underdog anymore. He's not the king of the bums anymore. All he has left to do now is beat the ace of AEW, to beat the final boss. And if he can do that, as I said in the previous streams, Swerve will have to go through Mox to get into title contention. And that's going to be a great program. That will happen. Mox will forever be the ace. But if Kingston beat in Mox as well, that means Eddie Kingston is now in top line contention. There's just no argument anymore. You can stop with the underdog stuff. He's proven himself this year, and everyone is booking him accordingly. Now, I honestly cannot call it because both Mox and Kingston desperately need some time off to recharge and address their various issues. So I cannot call the match.
Okay, LaFuron, you brought up
I want it to be Eddie so badly. It is about fucking time.
I mean, before you, Rollins, I do want to chime in here. You said it, and to your point, it is going to be there's a part of me that wants to dissect this match in the same manner that you have. You pretty much laid it all out there. But one thing I do want to double down on is for anyone that has unmitigated hatred for the character, if it's a lack of understanding, if it's body shaming, if it's not appreciating his style, you guys are missing the whole point. And yes, it would be nice to see him break away from the underdog character, but it is a fuck you to all the haters. You got like that degree of tribalism in pro wrestling is the issue with fandom. If you're going to turn off your TVs and stop watching the program because AEW is passing the torch off to Eddie Kingston, good for you. Find something else to do Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday nights. That's where I'm at with that. Go ahead, Rollins.
So, LaFuron, you brought up an interesting point about how if Swerve wants to get a world title match, he's going to have to go through Moxley. Do you think there's a possibility that Swerve comes in during this match and screws over Moxley in some way to get an ounce of payback for how their match ended a couple weeks back? Because I think that is a very strong possibility that Swerve Strickland comes in during this match and screws over Moxley.
No, I don't see it. Swerve doesn't need to avenge himself. He hasn't really lost anything. I mean, he said in multiple promos. He said in the promo after the group stage match with Mox He's built his career coming back from losses like that, and every time it's just made you strong. It's just made him stronger. What Mox cheating to win in the group stages just made Swerve even stronger, and will continue. We'll continue that. When I say Swerve has to go through Mox in order to get a title shot, I don't mean that in a literal sense. I mean that in a booking and a perception sense. Jon Moxley is the ace of AEW. For all, both in storyline and at a business level. He has put the company on his back when shit has gone down, and he has dragged it out of bad times and carried things when they're good times as well. He is the end boss. So, in order for Swerve to be seen, in my mind, as a credible world title contender, at some point he is going to have to defeat Jon Moxley to get there. Now, seeds have been planted for that match to actually have story beats through it. Fine, but Swerve isn't in a position to go for the title now.
I don't agree with you on that one.
Well, just by virtue of we've got MJF and Joe to go first. If so it's not going to be happening straight away, and as no doubt we'll talk about in a minute. If ultimately MJF wins, we then have the conclusion of the Devil storyline to sort out. So unless Swerve is the Devil, of which he's not, Swerve's got to wait for a storyline slot to open up. So it would be rushing if Swerve had anything to do with the Kingston Mox match, because there's no hatred or animosity from Swerve to Mox. If anything, Swerve is thanking Mox for adding more fuel to his fire. It will wait, and Swerve. This heel Swerve that we've been seeing for the past couple of months is not sneaky. He's in your face. Even if he's sending out the rest of the Mogul Embassy to do some dirty work, it's not in a clandestine way. He's making it perfectly clear to you that I, Swerve Strickland, am getting in your face. I may not be getting my hands dirty because, well, I'm a mogul. I pay for help, but he's not conniving or clandestine or sneaky in any way. So there would be no need for him to screw Mox, because he's going to stand in Mox's face and take what is rightfully his. So I don't see him getting involved in any way.
And
Faulkner, you seem to agree with what LaFuron was saying.
100%. More so to that is what would Swerve interfering add to this match? And I don't think it adds anything. Mox and Kingston speak very highly of each other. This is, I think, going to be one of the cleanest, straight up, just beat the shit out of each other matches of the night. I don't think it needs any sort of interferences, gimmicks, anything. The match just makes itself.
Well, as I was saying when I was playfully roasting C-Boss last stream, Kingston and Hangman. Now that CM Punk has departed, Kingston and Hangman are the two best character wrestlers in AEW, with Mox and Jay White being close second. Their in-ring storytelling, their in-ring psychology, and how they present their characters, because those two are the only two in AEW who actually have a modicum of depth to their characters. They're not, it's like Kingston is not just angry shouting a mic. Listen to every single promo he's ever cut in AEW. There's always layers. I mean, that fantastic. I tried to drown my demons, but my demons know how to swim promo. There was no shouting in that.
He reminds me very much of the Dudleys, like early ECW days.
Yeah,
very much like that.
Oh, can you imagine what ECW Heyman would have done with Eddie Kingston back in the day. Oh my Christ!
I to this day still love Heyman. He is one of
Yeah,
the biggest geniuses of wrestling, and I wished he was involved in AEW.
Yeah, I
yeah,
got to get behind that statement as well. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I'm not sitting in front of my computer. I can't see that you were ready to talk. Sorry, my wife's got me doing laundry. Yeah, no, Heyman and Heyman's heyday, like mid '90s, Heyman would have turned Eddie into a fucking superstar. There's
Yeah.
no two ways about it.
Oh, he would have fit with that roster so well as well, dude. So
oh, most
perfectly.
definitely. Yeah, but
His-
because of his character work, his in-ring storytelling ability, there's there is absolutely no need to overbook this match in any way, you know, and given some of the somewhat warranted backlash that MJF Jay White got for its overbooking, you don't want to do that again so soon.
Yeah.
Anything more than John Moxley and Eddie Kingston beating the ever-loving piss into each other until they are both profusely bleeding and unable to stand. If you add even a crumb more than that, you're overbooking the match. And
So I'm very
and-
happy
and
with
you
whoever
overbook
wins
the
this
story.
match.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would love it to be Kingston
Yeah.
because it would mean a lot to to where he is and where I think he should be. But I can't call it. But I'm gonna fucking love it either way.
Now, I do hear what
match,
you.
match
do-
it, this and Swerve Lee will be joint matches of the night.
I do hear what you guys are saying. It just felt like the reason I was asking about that is because you already had the seeds planted for a Moxley versus Swerve Strickland feud, as like you guys were both alluding to.
Let it
And
breathe. Let it breathe. There's no need
Yeah.
to rush it. There's no
Right.
need to rush it.
I would
Well,
love
I-
to see them have a match again.
While I hear while I hear what you're saying, it's like, and Swerve it has not been that type of heel. You're right, but it could be a good way to get to that feud and really have Swerve be like, I'm coming after you, Mox. Like, you screwed me over. Now I'm coming after you, and I'm going to cost you this match. And now they both have beef with one another.
Let Mox have his vacation, Rollins. He's been needing it for over a year. He was supposed to go on vacation after Double or Nothing last year. Then
Rollins is-
Punk gets injured. Then Punk comes back. Then Punk gets suspended. Then Moxley enters a thing with the Elite, and the Elite won't leave him alone. And then the C2. Just let Mox have his vacation, Tony Khan, please.
I think between now and the next pay-per-view, there is plenty of room. Even if he wins, plenty of room for him to take a vacation.
That is
Hey,
true.
If,
There's
Also,
a lot of good storylines going on that can
Yeah.
definitely just take place without him.
we'll get more into this on Tuesday, but there is
Yes.
no pay-per-view between World's End and Revolution. So we've got all of January,
well, there never has been a pay-per-view. In fact, there's never been a pay-per-view between Full Gear and
Revolution.
Revolution. It's only recently for AEW, seemingly at Warner's request, have started pushing their pay-per-view schedule up.
I love
yeah,
this
Mo-
comment from
yeah.
Wolf.
But it's true.
Vacation for Mox.
Wrestling
true.
is vacation for Moxley.
Every time everyone has ever said, "Oh, Mox needs to take a vacation," it sort of coincides with him not being on TV in a particularly large capacity because he's off doing death matches in GCW.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, it's it's like if you watch a Moxley GCW death match, he's not actually that physically active. It's all it's all the weapon spots, which means in a silly sort of way he's not filling up his bump card. He's not actually taking very many bumps. He's taking superficial lacerations. So
Less pay-per-views, more belts. That's what we need, boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
the rumor.
is
Speaking
it-
about. Oh, go ahead.
so I'm just saying on the vacation thing, is it just me or does Renee look like she's pregnant again?
She did about a week and a half ago, but then she doesn't.
Yeah, there was one particular outfit where I was like,
The silver one.
yeah, it's like is that a baby bump? Because I know you love your food, so
She looked very
Oh,
bloated
fuck.
for sure. but
a woman who loves her food and is perfectly content in her own skin to carry a couple of extra pounds because she loves her food is a proper fucking woman, as far as I'm concerned.
agreed.
Absolutely.
But I was like, it's like that's not a food baby, that's an actual baby. But then the next week, it wasn't there. It might have just been a quirk of that particular outfit. But if she is,
She was
then
definitely bloated.
Mox, fuck off. You got baby number 2 for a bit. Go chill. Go chill. Be fine.
Plot twist: she ate a baby.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah, we went there.
Dark
we're-
Renee Housen.
We're gonna pivot, but to the final match. But I do want to throw it out there that they scheduled the Nick Gage Invitational for this year, and the big rumor for the Invitational that they're gonna headline Mox, which would be fucking sweet. It's not the first time we've seen him in that tourney, and it certainly won't be the last. But we're gonna pivot. We have 2 more things to discuss. We'll start with the final match of the evening. We have the man, the myth, the legend, the generational talent, MJF versus the Samoan submission machine. Is he actually a submission machine? It's funny because
he was.
he-
in TNA.
Coquina clutch.
yeah. So lots of implications for future storytelling throughout this match. Plus, I don't have to tell any of you guys here that this is the big devil reveal. We're gonna see what's going on with the devil. We're not gonna talk about who the devil is. We're not gonna talk about the goons. Hopefully, they reveal who the new ROH tag team champions are today. I'd like to see that more literally than anything else that's happening on this match, because we know that Max is gonna retain. They're not dropping this belt off of him until Revolution.
What?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're
That's
about
your
to have
opinion.
I think they're about to have a barn burner. I think it's going to be a fantastic match, but I think that the devil is Cole. I think they're going to send Kyle O'Reilly out there in the mask, and Cole's going to pop up on the screen like we were never friends. I think that Wolf's prediction is spot on, that it's the Kingdom, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. They're getting
strong.
no, with Roderick Strong being left out, and that's Adam. How
Yeah,
could
I don't
it be
think Roddy
you?
knows.
Yeah, I don't think.
Kyle!
Yeah, I know. Kyle, we're supposed to be friends. Remember WWE? I think yeah, I know. The only that was like the end of the NXT Awesome era. But that's my spicy hot take. I don't think I think Joe is going to carry the match because of the injury, and then I think MJF is going to sit for a month. They're going to come back and run the bidding war bit, and then we're going to see a title defense and drop at Revolution, and then it's going to be, oh fuck, I signed. Here's the exposition for the rest of the story. I think MJF is going to be with. I don't doubt that he's going to transition over to the Fed at some point, but I think he's going to be with us with AEW into the foreseeable future. Rollins.
yeah, I think MJF retains as well because we've teased a program between him and Swerve Strickland. We've teased a program between him and Hangman. We have the Devil storyline. I don't think you take the belt off of MJF when you've got all those other storylines down the line waiting for MJF. So it's going to be a heck of a match. There's going to be some type of devil interference in this match for sure. It has to happen. But I think MJF ultimately, by hook or by crook, MJF will still be your reigning, defending, undisputed AEW World Champion.
Did you just say Hook's the devil? By hook or by crook?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, why are you getting Taz's son involved in this match? There's already enough shenanigans with the devil. Why Hook?
You were clearly team sleazy.
Unless Danhausen's under one of those masks.
Devilhausen.
Full on dark.
Wait,
yeah.
You don't know.
Spiking teeth.
You don't know that phrase by hook or by crook?
I'm just screwing with you, Rollins. Come on.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I think with all the
I may be
people,
ugly, but I'm stupid.
I think with all the people behind it, or all the people that are gunning for MJF, you've got Swerve Strickland, you've got Wardlow,
I forgot about Wardlow.
You've got. I have not seen a single thing where Hangman Adam Page is going after MJF. Why? I don't
If he
think
hasn't
it's going to
recovered
happen.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense at all. He's a traitor, and you know it, Shane.
I love what Wolf. Let's just take a moment to. I love what Wolf said here. MJF isn't going anywhere, especially after what he posted to his socials this week. He lives and breathes AEW at this moment. I fully agree with that. I don't think MJF is going anywhere.
I think he signs his contract extension after retaining at World's End.
Ooh, that would be a good way to end the show.
Yep.
I
And
love
he
that.
signs his contract, tells Shivani to shut the hell up, and then that's the end of the show.
I love that. That's good.
All right, what do you got, Bill?
I guess I'm the odd man out here. I think Joe wins. You guys stated MJF has a bunch of feuds coming up, and I think you're still right on that. Title or no title, he has feuds coming up. Plus, even if he drops to Joe, he's not going to keep the title long. I think MJF's going to get it back. But I still stand by what I've been saying for the past few weeks, that MJF is losing everything. He is going to hit rock bottom. His character needs to get crushed. And I think that's what's going to happen right here, man. He's losing the title to Joe.
Can't call it. Outside of the actual match itself, which is going to be fantastic, I'm not entirely sure I actually care anymore. I just want meat. I want the reveal. I want this to move on in a tangible way. I want this to start the next chapter. After reading what MJF posted, his Players Tribune article, which was fantastic. After he said that, I kind of don't want to see. I kind of don't want to see the CM Punk style heel turn that I alluded to last stream. I would very much love to see what you said, Shane, a while ago. Everything comes crashing down. You're right, Faulkner. It is the end of his world. The match is going on. He's absolutely irate that Joe was in league with the devil for what he did. Not is the devil, but it was a business transaction. So he's pumped. He's fired up. They're going to go absolutely at it. Ultimately, the devil's interference costs him the title. Joe is champion. Go up the ramp. The devil is revealed with whoever it is. The goons are revealed. So who the ROH title holders are. Joe and the devil shake hands. Business transaction concluded. Max has been absolutely crushed. And then MJF absolutely loses his shit on the mic. Full on Ric Flair, vein popping. Tony Khan, get your fucking ass out here right now. There is no bidding war. I am not letting this stand. I am not letting those fuckers take everything from me. There is no bidding war. Sign my extension right now. I want my fucking belt back.
And you're saying this happens on the following episode of Dynamite?
No,
right?
I'm saying this happens to close
Tonight.
the pay-per-view.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's tonight.
This happens.
Yeah,
This happens tonight.
I made this I made this prediction about a month ago, and LaFuron and I spoke on it at great length. As much my fantasy booking for this hasn't changed, but my direction of the match stays the same. I don't think as much as I think that Max needs to drop this belt tonight, I think the intention is, unless they pop it on Joe, and then Swerve takes it off of him at Revolution. It would be they have to do something big, right? If you're gonna define the if you're gonna define the uh, pay-per-view as the world's end, there has to be world-ending scenarios, put to task during the pay-per-view. Obviously the biggest thing that could happen would be dropping the belt off of MJF. I think they might spin that as a devil. I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No.
Okay.
I've got another playful scenario to add, but as this was essentially born from your booking a month ago.
Yeah.
So,
I just want to see MJF re-sign so that all the Fed stands that think he's gonna be the Royal Rumble can just lose their shit and be like, oh, we gotta panic delete everything.
Yeah. No,
Wait,
I just want to see
C-Boss,
Cody
you
Rhodes
mean
cry.
like our friend Brian?
I think we can all agree he's not going
Brian,
anywhere.
Our friend Brian wants him to stay in AEW because he loves MJF and AEW. He told me this when we were on the way to Monday Night Raw on the 11th. He said he never wants to see MJF go to the Fed because the Fed would ruin his character faster than you could say, I'm better than you and you know it.
C-Boss, I got to agree with you there. Why would, as MJF, from a business perspective, if you're building a legacy for yourself and you're already an established world champion, what would you gain from going to an organization that's going to stagnate you to the mid card or pluck you into NXT because you're a younger guy? There's no getting around it. They're going to rework all of his skill sets in the performance center, so he's wrestling like a WWE talent. He's going to have to redefine the way that he operates behind a microphone. He's never going to write his own promos again. Never going to have any control over any of his creative. If I were in his position, of course it's about money. Let's rip that band-aid off. But to me, it's more about legacy. I don't think I think it's some period of time he's gonna leave. He's gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be for life. WWE's thing with AEW talents right now is what? If they could get them to cross, the bidding line, they sign them to 3 to 5 year contracts. I think that he's going to say, I'm going to WWE and sign anything that's going to be longer than a year. He's going to want to continue to be able to shop his options out, right? So,
well, my very first on-camera contribution to this pod was when we were talking about AJ Styles, and I said, it's like they say, you run for your art and you run for your money. MJF right now is young enough, and the same applies to Jay White, is young enough that he is still young enough and healthy enough to do the run for his art. When he starts slowing down a little bit, when he's maybe got a family to consider, then that's when you do your run for the money. And knowing that WWE under the current regime, which is unlikely to change in philosophy anytime soon, when Max knows his character will be toned down, his promos will be toned down, he's going to be more scripted, he is unlikely to be afforded this, creative freedom, because even back in 2011, Punk was still scripted. All those pipe bombs, they were approved beforehand. You're never going to have creative expression in WWE. But when Max is prepared to accept those concessions to make bank, then he'll jump. But until that point, he's still doing his run for his art. He's not leaving AEW anytime soon. And it is what that's just the way it is, really. It would be premature to go over while he's hitting his prime and hitting his creative expertise the way he's doing. So, got 2 seconds just to throw another possible fun fantasy angle for this devil reveal at you.
Start cooking.
Go ahead, hit us.
Absolutely.
Mishmash of everything that we've all been saying, and a bit of a swerve goes on. Match goes down the way it was. The devil comes in to do his
dirty work.
To do his dirty work. Unmasked as Adam Cole. The cast has been fake this entire time. Unmasked. Joe smug. MJF ape shit. Cole smashes Joe. Cole smashes Joe. MJF retains. The Goons unmask as the Kingdom, including Roddy, who are absolutely freaking out about what's happened. And the whole thing's left on a bit of a confusing note because Adam Cole was the devil, but he's not. The Kingdom with the Goons, but they're not. What's going on? On Dynamite, Adam Cole comes clean. It was me at the beginning. I did want my belt shot. You did take it from me. I was going to do everything that I could to screw you over and get into your life. But along the way, I realized that I do genuinely love you. It started off fake, but it became real. You are my best friend. And ultimately I couldn't do it. So after everything that I set in motion, the only thing I could do to try and make amends is to derail what I started. I hope you can forgive me.
I fantasy booked this with two great minds. I fantasy booked this with Rollins like 3 weeks ago, the double cross.
Yes,
That's
you did.
yeah,
You
yeah.
did.
Cole goes up there, can't pull the trigger on, but on completely betraying MJF, which would certainly run for an interesting angle, unless the way that I spit it was he can't turn on MJF, or he wants to fight MJF fairly to, you know, drop that belt off of him and doesn't want it to trade hands with Joe. Could be a double cross. We could be, we could. There are a lot of mechanics in play for this story that are all going to come to a head. They treated Wrestle Dream like it was supposed to be the entrance to the new era for AEW and storytelling. And while we continue to stagnate, storylines and ideas post Wrestle Dream, it feels like that they're really putting a lid on a lot of things for this one, which is pretty cool. You guys have anything else to add on the match card?
As I would be fine with MJ or Adam Cole as the devil screwing Joe, as long as Roddy and you just hear Roddy in the background, Adam, what the hell?
Yeah,
I don't.
I want Roddy to be quote unquote the good guy here. I want him to be completely oblivious of what's been going on.
Why the fuck doesn't that guy not run? I mean, he's not injured anymore. He's a fantastic. Some of his, I
Take
always
off
like to.
the neck brace. You don't need it.
Yeah,
He's neck strong.
Yeah, I love
Champion of neck health.
He
one.
can't take it off. We haven't we haven't quite finished necking the halls yet. and now we've got now we're going to have new neck new year. So
We'll see him. We'll see him next year.
Yeah. So,
There we go.
Next year.
All right, guys.
if Roddy's going to be the good guy on standing alone, then it needs to be worked in that OGK have been screwing Roddy the entire time as well. So
Yeah.
Undisputed Kingdom, Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, Taven and Bennett, with Roddy on the outside. And Samoa Joe is no longer his best friend by proxy. He is actually his best friend.
Yeah, we are going to have a lot of stuff to discuss on Tuesday, guys. We've dragged this one out probably about as far as we have ever done a podcast. We've had decent viewership today, so to the people that showed up, thank you. We have one last thing to discuss, and that is, will we see, and obviously this is a hot button topic, it's all over the fucking internet right now, is tonight going to be the night that Mercedes Moné debuts in AEW. Now, before we start talking about this, I do want to make it a point to say that as soon as they revealed that the litigations with her legal and her financial expectations fell through with WWE, WWE has now announced that for the first of the year, they're going to be bringing a WWE champion back into the program for the first time in a long time. And
it's been out for 5 years. They said.
What's up?
I think.
What's up?
Who's been away for 5 years? They stated a time frame.
Yeah, that's been. But
Yeah.
Monet hasn't been gone for 5 years. She's been gone for 2.5. So it is either we're getting, either. So my initial reaction to seeing the reporting on this yesterday was, the talks fell through. Either they're lying and they signed her and she's coming back, or the talks actually did fall through, and Tony Khan is about to pay out the ass for her to pull a Uno reverse card on WWE for the shit they pulled with CM Punk. That's what I'm honestly hoping happens, because I'd love to see Triple H eat a slice of his own humble pie for once in the history of that promotion. I don't want to. I want to temper my expectations because I still believe that she's going back to the Fed. Rollins, what do you got on this one?
I think tonight it's gonna be boss time. I think she is coming tonight, and it will happen after the Julia Hart Abaddon match.
No,
Ju-
dude,
Julia
no.
Hart,
Hey,
They're
Julia
gonna throw
Hart,
her right
Julia.
into the world title frame, dude. There's no
yeah,
way that
there's
she's
no
signed up
way
for anything
they're
else, bro.
putting talent as big as Mercedes Moné into the mid card.
Is she
Fair
that
enough.
big though?
Is that Maria May's first match?
Oh!
That's what I was going to get to myself.
They're gonna.
If
Oh,
if Mercedes is coming in, then Tony Storm's title victory celebration is interrupted by Mercedes Moné.
Yeah,
Smug,
that makes much more sense, actually.
happy to be there, drinking in all the attention and the huge pop. Mariah May goes apoplectic with rage at how Mercedes can show such disrespect to the glorious Tony Storm. Mariah announced that her debut match was going to be the January 3rd Dynamite, but she never said who her opponent was going to be.
yeah.
It's me, bitch.
I hope it's not just like a squash match opponent, like jobber number 27854.
How many?
Mercedes? Well, considering the experience Mariah has in Stardom and Monet doesn't, if anyone's getting squashed, realistically, it would be the former Sasha Banks. But
Absolutely.
that's if she's coming in. I do have a feeling that although everything I said and we all discussed last time about how the women being booked and what I said about Mercedes not coming in to fight for the scraps of the piss break match and not bringing the eyes in. If things truly have broken down with WWE, I can see Tony Bank in this instance. I can see Tony Khan opening the checkbook as a bit of a trial run. Bring her in here for the pop, get her on a limited program for a little bit on Dynamite and see how the ratings do. Because if he is also sincere about a renewed push in the women's division as a whole, then he's going to want to throw everything that he's got at it. So that also potentially leads into my silver lining about Willow and Stat being on the pre-show. Two of the best women that they've got, unfettered by commercials, unfettered by ratings, thrown on YouTube where everyone can see it for free. Bring Monet in for a limited run starting at the pay-per-view. Use that to maybe drive a bigger push. I mean, Tony Storm and Mariah May are in this, going to be in this movie parody angle. Timeless Tony Storm is Tony Khan's creation. Maybe all this ties in together into what Tony was saying about a proper push for the women going forward, starting with the December 3rd Dynamite when Mariah May looks to avenge Tony Storm's indignation against Mercedes Moné.
Nice.
By the way, LaFuron, you mentioned
Hire
that-
me, Tony, you fucking mark.
We've been saying it for fucking almost a year and a half now.
Right.
Where's our creative? Where's our jobs in creative at AEW?
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
By the way, LaFuron, you did mention that January 3rd Dynamite. That happens to fall on my birthday this year.
Happy
Well,
birthday.
motherfucker.
That'd be a nice little present.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching it with my boys.
Nice.
The last time I actually did something special on my birthday was when I went to the Browns game in 2021 when they made the playoffs.
Nice.
The first time in almost 20 years.
We did the full run on the boss. Before we end the pre-show to the show, does anyone have anything else they want to throw in there?
I'm not sure when I would see her fitting in here. I don't think it's her. I don't think she's coming today. Fuck this. She's not coming today.
Oh,
Dolph's
man.
coming today. My boy Dolph.
Give us.
He's coming
Yeah.
at a
It's like
fighting
a
Swerve.
bunch of people in the battle royal are just beating up on Ryan Nemeth, and all of a sudden, Dolph comes running down. It's like, what, Nick Nemeth? And
If he
and,
comes
saves
in-
his brother by throwing a bunch of people out.
I mean, I could see that, but then again,
I know
Stephen Puppy,
you have Luchasaurus winning this damn battle
I
royal.
do, but I
And
think
yeah,
if he's
the more you talked about it, the more you actually convinced me that it should be Luchasaurus.
should
Well,
be.
let me ask something. What format is this battle royale? Are we getting it structured like a Royal Rumble where they're bringing every guy out one at a time, or are we getting all 20 motherfuckers in the ring at once?
It'll have to be the 20.
Well,
Would
Appreciate the hour
would
long.
it be like the battle royal that we had for the international championship at what was that, Double or Nothing,
Where they brought them in chunks?
where like everyone started outside the ring but they were all ringside and then they came in when they wanted to.
Well, Battle Royale typically is everyone at once, but
Right.
AEW
But
does things a bit
they,
weird.
yeah, but how they start it off doesn't really.
Oh yeah,
20
yeah.
motherfuckers at once.
But
All
yeah,
right,
the
boys.
pre-show's only
Due to
an hour long.
timing,
There were
yes,
three
have to
Well,
be.
matches.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for being engaged in this show.
Yeah, I do want to thank the people, the commenters on YouTube and the viewership. You guys stuck it out with us today. It was a great show. Always pleasure to hear from you, LaFuron. I know that due to time constraints, we don't always get you on these pods, but we do appreciate everyone here that dedicated their time today.
And I would like to thank everyone for putting up with me for the past 2 weeks. By virtue of getting a bit of vacation time from work, I've been able to join in.
Nice.
So it's been a pleasure to engage with everyone beyond text on the screen. So thank you for having me.
Anytime.
And,
It's been fantastic to have you.
Yes, you've you made it very informative. You brought a lot of thought to the conversations. I love it.
You're gonna have to find another way for Brent to fall asleep now, though. Now that I'm not going to be whispering to sweet ASMR dreams, but hopefully it won't be. Hopefully it will be before July. But realistically speaking, my birthday fortnight off around July. Hopefully we'll see you then.
Nice. Well, we are not just a presence here on YouTube. We also have a pretty active Discord. I'm in the process of building a Twitch page for us, and you can find us now on X at So What's the Catch. All the links are going to be posted down in the description below. The pre-show for 0 Hour starts at 7 o'clock, pay-per-view at 8. If you want to continue the chat, we're going to be live in the promotions area on our Discord page, talking about it in real time. A lot of you guys are going to be sitting at my house, but most likely Volkner.
I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, and a nice little chunk of people.
Yeah.
So
I'll be with Rollins and a couple of other of our college buddies.
yeah. So with that, we bid you adieu, farewell, and bang. We are the Cheap Heat champions, and we'll see you folks on Tuesday. Goodbye.
Salute
Peace
to
out.
you.
Peace.
Dolph Ziggler's debuting tonight. It's not confirmed, but I'm gonna confirm it anyways because
Get the fuck every
Mark.
day.
My arm's
Every
aching.
time we-
Shut it.
Every
Okay.
time I hit the fucking button, Steve.